What's going on, guys? Welcome to Rambling Garage. Thank you guys for tuning in. I just want to ask you guys, if you're watching this video, please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of April. If you guys can help us get there, that would be greatly appreciated. Today we're going to dig back into the Aermacchi SS125. We're going to try and get this thing on the road and go for our first ride. This will probably be a video over a couple of days, just to try and get this stuff done here, but let's take a look at what we have since last time. Looking in the background, we did get the brake pedal pad on there, nothing too big. We got this cup up here, which has a key cylinder, which works perfect. If you look back there, we have a brake light, and you can see I am pulling the brake there. Brake light works. This was not working initially. I pushed in the little pin on the brake light sensor and it started working. So, magic. But yeah, everything else is working. It runs pretty good if we feed fuel down the carb, which is why we have the bottle there. But it does not run without that. And I actually just got the Carb Rebuild Kit in. We're going to take the carb off. We're going to make that thing really clean. We take a look over here. We have the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I have what is basically a 50-50 Simple Green. If you guys aren't familiar with Simple Green, there's Simple Green. 50-50 Simple Green diluted with water. So we'll put the carb in there. We'll clean out all the jets and everything. Make sure we have some good flow coming in. Also, on the gas tank over here, we have some super slow outlet of gas, which makes me think this is probably clogged up. So we're going to take that off. We'll get that cleaned up as well. And hopefully we'll have a driving motorcycle here shortly. One other thing I know while the carb is off, we're going to need to adjust this clutch cable. That thing seems to be pretty stretched out, but even when I put it in gear, I'll show you guys. I'll put it down one for first, so the bike won't move. I should be able to pull the clutch and the bike should move. It'll move if I turn the motor over, but otherwise it won't move. So, half up on these bikes is back into neutral, and we're good. But we need to adjust that. So the way we're going to do that is we'll first, there's a little bolt in there. We'll loosen it. Let the cable pull through. We'll push this all the way in, and then we'll push that bolt all the way out the wire. I'll show you guys that. But let's start digging into this thing, and we'll try and get this thing running. Alright, so we got this thing fully disassembled. Hopefully you guys can see it, because I realized I was holding it a little lower than I would have liked, but I think it'll show for you guys. We're going to, we take a look at this stuff. It's all pretty dirty, but I think you can see through it all, so we'll clean it out anyways. I think the passages in this thing are going to be a bigger problem, so we'll make sure those all get cleaned. It had more fuel in the bowl than I thought it would, so. So we'll go over to the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I don't know if you guys have used one of these before. And we'll move it away from the gas because we do set it up to get hot. These are all in Celsius. It usually doesn't get much over like 55 degrees Celsius. So let's put it up to like 70 and let it work. We'll pull it away from the gas there. We'll let that get up to somewhere between 45 and 50 degrees Celsius. We'll put the carb in there on each side because I don't think it'll be deep enough, and we'll put it in there and let the cleaner run for probably 15 minutes each side. I'll show you. I should probably get a bigger ultrasonic cleaner. Here's how much will fit in there. Really not that bad, actually. More than I thought it would. So we'll put the other stuff on the other side and we'll come back to you guys once we run that for a little while. While we're at that, I did take the petcock off there and put it in the cleaner as well. I'm going to use Carb Cleaner on this stuff as well, but this does a good job of getting it clean before I do all that. Petcock is right there. See, there's a little gas in it. I don't know if you can see the bubbles, but got everything in there, as you can see. Probably 3 minutes later, and the temperature is not up that high. So we're going to give this some time. We'll come back, wait till it's about 45, 50, and we'll run this thing for 15 minutes on each side. Once we're done with that, we'll get it all ready to go back on the 125. That's all done. Ended up being on for about a half an hour and only got up to 42 degrees Celsius to give you an idea of how slow that actually heats up. But it did an awesome job. These things look brand new. Maybe a little bit of stuff in the little nooks and crannies, but they look new enough to start working. So you look in there, that looks all brand new in my opinion. We'll test the jets out with some cleaner. That was out of the gas tank again. That looks pretty good. This is a little gummed up. Now it's, again, looking brand new. Then we got everything. I just put it all in the bowl here. Just don't lose it. Because sometimes things will fall through. This is like a little, I don't know, just sits in there. But if stuff falls through, it's hard to get out. You almost have to empty it or just dig your hand in there and hope for the best. But this stuff I'll clean up real nice too. I'm going to let this stuff dry. It's raining out right now. This is actually pretty dirty. How's that look? Not bad. So it's raining out right now. I'm going to wait until it's done raining to open the garage, and then we're going to use Carb Cleaner on all that stuff, make sure all the jets are cleaned out, and put it back together. Just got back from the gym, so don't judge me by my yellow leggings you're about to see, but HL Creations came in clutch again. Got us the rebuild kit. These things are, I don't know if you can call them a rebuild kit, but more of a gasket kit for these, because there's not a whole lot to them. But we got all that, so we'll put that all in place there. I did clean up a little bit in the garage. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it is a little bit better. It's still kind of a mess. Still doing really good on that project there, huh? We'll get to that though. So let's get to this. Cleared out everything. Let it all dry from the degreaser. I cleared out everything with some Carb Cleaner, and just got to replace what we have here if we can figure out what goes where. So let's get to it. So we got this guy all back together. This valve thing, I broke part of the needle off, so we'll see how that goes. I think we should be okay. I'm gonna reinstall the throttle cable here and try and see if we can start it. So carb's back on there. I got fuel. I don't know if you can see in there, but there is fuel coming through. We're gonna start this thing. I'm gonna roll it outside so I don't get yelled at and give her a shot. The idle mixture all kind of set in and idle set. It's doing its own thing. The carb float is, I think the bowl is leaking actually, so we need to take a look at that. It's not overflowing. Just got a bowl seal issue. So we're going to adjust the clutch a little bit, then we can take this thing for a ride probably tomorrow. Guys, we're just a little more than a couple days later. We were probably a couple weeks later from when I last filmed this. But as you can see, we're still dealing with stuck clutch issues. I had a couple things go wrong, but one thing we did add is I finally found an oil fill cap. So when we run this thing, all the trans fluid or the gear oil won't come out. I did break the chain that I had on here, trying to get the clutch loose. What I did was I revved it up and just smacked it in the gear, hoping it would shock the clutch packs loose, and it didn't do that. So I have a new chain on there, but it looks to be about 1 link long. So I did end up pulling the side cover again after draining all the oil, and here's what I have found. These things are pretty nasty, so no real wonder that they are sticking. I still have one plate in there. I don't know how well you can see, but that one looks to be in pretty good shape. And I'm struggling to get it out, so we'll keep it in there. What we're gonna do is toss these in the Ultrasonic Cleaner and let those soak a little bit, and then I'm really gonna have to scrub these pretty good to get those to clean up, I think. But we'll start with the Ultrasonic Cleaner and see how it does. So over here, I'll just fire this thing up, let it heat up, and let it run for a while, and see how well it does. So I actually ran these in the cleaner for about a half an hour, but you can see they're considerably better. I took them out, wiped them down. I used a little seal wool. This one is in pretty rough shape. We might have to wire wheel that. I'm more concerned about keeping the surfaces even though. So we're gonna try and clean these up. The further back they go, further into the transmission, the better they look. So this one's got some marks on it, but it's actually really smooth. Clutch pieces themselves, so they have a lot of life on them. Let's take a look at that one. These things look pretty good. Bike only has like 1,200 miles on them, so they should look good. We're going to work on cleaning this up a little bit further, and we'll get those all put back in there, put everything back together, and we'll see if we can, I don't know, maybe use the clutch. That'd be cool. All right, guys, we're back. We're going to keep taking a look at these clutches for the SS125. I went out and bought a thing called a carbide scraper. This is a Titan. The part number is 17011. If you guys don't have one of these, you probably want one. It's kind of like a razor blade that you'd use to scratch off like gaskets and stuff, but it's better, especially on metal parts. If we come take a look down here, don't have a gym bag. These things look pretty rough, and they are. No, there's a texture to them. You can tell that they're corroded. So I took the carbide scraper and I cleaned them up, and this is what they look like now. We still have some pitting and some staining of sorts, discoloration, but they're smooth as they need to be to work. They won't stick together anymore. And we've just been kind of cleaning up the clutches as well. So we're gonna, I only have a few left. I've been doing these off camera, and you can actually see kind of what before and after. Left side is before, right side is after. This one needs a little work yet, but you get an idea kind of what it looks like, and yeah, cleans it up really nice. So we're gonna continue. I've been doing this on the trash can just because I got a surface out there that I don't mind getting dirty. So we'll continue cleaning those off and see what they look like. Put them back in the bike and see if we have clutch back. So you can just see, in comparison to how they were before, these things are way cleaner. They're also much more smooth. That thing does a great job. So I'm going to use some WD-40. I'm just going to let these soak a little bit. I get my WD-40 to spray. The goal here being that we want to clean it up, and then we also want to make sure it's not going to rust again. So we're not going to keep the WD-40 on it. They are wet clutches, so I don't anticipate that being an issue. But I could see this helping it to maybe slip a little bit. So we're just going to let them soak a little bit so that it can break up any of the dirt that's on there. I'll clean each side, flip them over, and do it again. I think that'll get us in a good spot to install back on the bike. Given the weather and everything, I'm not going to probably ride it in this video. I want to get this video completed and out there so you guys can see it. But we'll get everything put back together. We'll get it in a spot where it can ride, and we'll see if that clutch is engaging properly or not. So I'm going to go finish up some stuff inside, and then I'll be back once these soak for a little bit to get them installed in there. Alright guys, so I got my phone wet and was having audio issues, so I didn't have any audio prior to getting these put back in the bike. But we did get the clutches put back in there, gaskets on there, everything's ready to be sealed up. So we got to put that all back together. We're going to be waiting until this afternoon so I can get the bike over here and so we can work on it. I was able to put it in gear, pull the clutch, and I pushed the clutch in a little further with a pry bar because it wasn't disengaging, and it did disengage. So that tells me we just need some clutch adjustment that we'll continue to do here in the future. So let's pull this bike out and see if we can get this to work. So we are a few days later here. Don't mind the lawnmower noise in the background. Somebody literally just started lawn mowing as I started to film here. But we had the gasket for the side cover was leaking, so popping that back off, drain the oil again. Just want to get that taken care of. I did reuse that gasket, so I'll probably have to RTV it. Not a big deal. But if we look up here, I only got my clutch cable in. This is a new old stock cable, so it does match perfectly. It looks good. Have it in first gear right now. If we pull a clutch, the bike moves as it should. So once we get that side cover leak sorted out, I think we should be able to ride. One thing worth noting is that I did, when I put this guy on, push that shaft in because the C-clamp broke. So we're going to have to address that because that's why it's not going into gear as we'd expect. So it's just being picky, and that might help a little bit, or it might get a little better as it warms up with fluid in it. We'll see. But because of that, our ride is probably going to be short, but we are going to get this thing out for a ride and see how it does. Should at least be able to get up and down the road. So I'm going to let that continue to drain. We'll put that back on, and we'll be back with you guys when it's time to go for a ride. Little update. We did remove the whole clutch carrier here. The shifter pawls back in there ended up being a little gummed up, and the metal was had some jagged edges that was kind of holding the pawls in place, so it wasn't actually shifting gears. So that should be resolved now. We're going to put this cover back on, let the RTV seal for a little bit, and then we're going to go for a ride. So guys, we got the side cover back on. Everything is back together. Shifter pawls were still kind of being a little weird, but I'm thinking once we get some heat through them, they'll be okay. So I did RTV. I have everything snug. I'm going to let that sit overnight, and we will fully torque down, and then we're going to go for a ride. So just got to put this cover back on, got to put the kickstart back on, and I'm hoping we should be ready. So I'll be back with you guys tomorrow. Next day, and we are back together. Got about a half a quart of oil in there. I will add more. I just want to make sure it wasn't leaking, and it doesn't appear to be leaking. Side cover is fully back on. I put that on backwards. I'll flip that around, but that is on as well, and should be able to give her a start and maybe give it a ride. The clutch is still a little sticky. I'm hoping once it warms up and everything, the fluids start kind of flowing through there, everything is good. The shifter pall carrier still has a little bit of an issue going into gears. Again, hoping once that warms up and fluid kind of goes throughout the transmission there, that gets resolved, or else I'll have to end up ordering another one. So let me flip the kickstart around. For some reason I had an idea that was backwards, but didn't actually know until I looked. So I'll flip that around, we'll start this thing up and see how it goes. Alright guys, so as usual, we ran into problems, but you guys got to see me ride it a little bit. I did get it down the block. I had the thing up to like 45, just cruising, and then I heard a big pop. Blew out the front exhaust gasket. If we look in here, I don't know how well you can see in there, but it looks like they almost just RTV'd it. I might have blown out the bottom cylinder gasket actually. It's hard to tell. You guys can probably see better than I right now. Maybe that is the exhaust. Hopefully it's the exhaust so we don't have to pull that cylinder off. But this thing's quick, fun to ride. Shifted no problem. I got up into fourth, and yeah, it's a neat little thing. So we did run into some fueling issues. There's fuel in there now, but it's like the float gets stuck or it's just not feeding fuel quickly enough. So we're gonna come back and address all that. But right now we did get to go for our first ride. The thing's pretty fun. Really makes me want like a 175 or 250 because the thing was just scooting. I think that's going to be it for this right now, in this video at least. This was a long one. I want to thank you guys for staying here with us. We'll have more videos riding this thing soon, and maybe another bike project if we can find it. So I want to thank you guys again, as always, for tuning in. Like I did say, we do have another, I think I said in one of my previous videos, we have another project coming up, not a bike project, but a car project. It's going to be a pretty cool revival. So you guys definitely stay tuned for that one. Again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.